Hey guys, the Wallabies have just announced a squad for the 2023 Rugby World Cup. Here it is for you guys. Again, it's pretty small, but I'll go over it in more detail. But before we do so, like the video, guys, subscribe to our channel, and yeah, definitely leave a comment below because I want to see what your reaction is really towards the squad announcement. But as you can see, look, the Wallabies have announced their full squad here, and we'll go for the four-pack first. With the props, they've gone the likes of Angus Bell, as well as Pom Fonawasi there, as well as Zane Norgard there from the Reds, Blake Schwab, who's actually probably had to come in, I'd say, for Alana Toa, who's probably going to act as cover there. You've got like James Slipper, of course, and Taniel Tupou. So again, pretty good, I'd say, in terms of the props. Again, most likely they'll probably utilize Angus Bell, James Slipper, Taniel Tupou, and probably one of the other three in terms of like I guess like a starting position. But yeah, no, I think it's pretty good overall in terms of what they've been able to do in that area, going off obviously the injuries they've had throughout the Rugby Championship, so it's understandable. But yeah, I guess in terms of the hookers, they've gone the likes of Matt Fasler, as well as David Parecki and Jordan Wasey. So again, there's not really any big surprises there. Pretty happy, I'd say, for Matt Fasler because he's actually had a pretty impressive season actually for the Reds. So it's good to see that he's been able to kind of transition that from the Super Rugby level, obviously, towards the international stage and get a spot in the World Cup squad. So yeah, it's good from him really. And yeah, interesting to see Jordan Wasey because again, he's been out for a long time, but it seems that Eddie Jones really does rate him. So it's interesting to see that he's been picked ahead of other players like Falafango, for example. But yeah, Dave Parecki, he's been really the main starter for them, so it's pretty obvious why he's been selected as the hooker and what out of the three hookers really. But I guess in terms of locks, they've gone the likes of Richie Arnold there. No big surprise that in that one. Nick Frost as well as Matt Phillip, who actually does get a spot, which is good to see. But they've actually gone with Will Skelton here, and that's not the surprise. It's just like they've given him the captaincy, which is probably one of the big surprises I'd say out of this squad. Because again, you wouldn't really, he hasn't captained the Wallabies before, but the more you really think about it, it kind of does make a bit of sense in terms of why he's been given the captaincy. Because when you compare him to the rest of the Wallabies squad, he is probably the player with the most, I guess, like trophies or the most I guess victories in his career in terms of what he's been able to achieve. So he's probably the best player to kind of give the captaincy to. And again, I know he's not going to be he's not really he's not known as the the vocal type, to say the least, but he can lead by example, and that's kind of the reason why I believe they're giving it to him, because he's just one of their best he's probably one of the best players overall in the squad. So yeah, he'll definitely lead by example, and I think that's probably the reason why they're giving him captaincy. But of course, with that, we then move on then towards the back row, where it has Langley Gleeson there, Tom Hooper, Rob Lotea, Fraser McWright, and Rob Valentini. So they've only selected, 5 out of the back row there. And again, there is another name, but we'll get onto him later on. But there's only 5 names, guys. And out of those 5, none of them are Michael Hooper, which is probably the biggest one I'd say out of the bunch that he's missed out, because again, he wasn't available for the Rugby Championship. He had an injury, unfortunately, going into it, and he wasn't able to kind of showcase, I guess his rugby ability towards Eddie Jones, which is just really unfortunate, because I guess all Eddie Jones could kind of look off was really just Super Rugby in terms of what he was able to do in that front. But yeah, it's kind of crazy to think, because with Michael Hooper, it's like he's like the last he's like kind of the last of them in terms of like the 2015 Rugby World Cup squad in terms of what he was able to do in that tournament. And yeah, it's kind of shocking to think that he's kind of been excluded from this. Again, I think he may be like maybe considered as like a backup in terms of there's like an injury, of course, but it's just crazy to think that we won't see Michael Hooper at the Rugby World Cup in France. But yeah, no, it's crazy. And of course, that does obviously there's maybe that's the other reason why Will Skelton obviously has been given the captaincy in that sense, is because Michael Hooper hasn't been selected. But yeah, no, it's just mind-blowing at the least. Let me know what you guys think about that. But I guess in terms of the other loose forwards, I'm pretty happy with them overall. Langley Gleeson, it's amazing they've actually selected him, because they didn't actually get a lot of time actually in the Rugby Championship at all, to what I recall. So it's interesting to see that they've gone with him. But going off his Super Rugby form, I think that's what kind of got him in. Tom Hooper has been brilliant since he's been introduced into the Wallabies, so that's kind of a good selection there. Rob Lotea, very versatile, so understand him. Fraser McWright, he's definitely going to be the new. He's always been seen as like the heir to the throne, really, in terms of that 7 jersey. With Michael Hooper not there now, it looks like it's his to grab. Again, you could probably go with Tom Hooper there if you wanted to, but again, it really depends on what they do, because you can put Tom Hooper at the 6 and then put Francis McGrath at the 7. So there's a lot they can do in that front. But yeah, obviously Rob Valentini as well. Good to see him. But I'm trying to think of anyone else. I mean, yeah, no Harry Wilson, of course. He doesn't get it in officially, as well as Pete Samu, which is probably a big one actually, because Pete Samu has been pretty good actually I'd say for the Wallabies for a long period of time. So for him not to be included is a big omission. But yeah, I guess in terms of the back line, we'll go on to here now. They've gone the likes of Tim McDermott, who was actually the vice captain, which is not too surprising, because of course he was given captaincy recently against the All Blacks. So good to see that. Him as a vice captain, I like that. Nick White, of course, in there as well. And they've actually gone with Isaac Fines Leo Wissa, which is a big call, because I don't like. It's one of those players where, yeah, he hasn't been a part of the Wallabies squad, I think, ever. So it's a big call to put him in, kind of in. It's one of the big kind of like not saying omissions, but just surprises really, I'd say, throughout the squad, because they could have gone with someone like, I'm trying to think who else was in the conversation. I mean, they could have gone with Ryan Lonergan. I mean, Ryan Lonergan's probably someone I would have gone with. I mean, he's a great player to have. He can be, I don't know, he can kick the ball pretty nicely in terms of that, from a long distance. So you can add that to his game. I mean, I'm surprised they've gone with Isaac Fines, but again, man, yeah, the best Eddie Jones must see something in him. So yeah, fair enough. But I guess in terms of the fly halves, it's very funny. And yes, you can't see it from here, but it does say Carter Gordon on the thing, and it says Carter Gordon, which is mind blowing to say the least. Yeah, I just can't believe it. It's the only fly half, well, technically the only fly half they've actually gone with. So no Quade Cooper in there is all. No, he just didn't do enough really with the Rugby Championship to make Eddie Jones think that, yeah, we need him, as well as Bernard Volley. He doesn't get the call back as well. So wow, it's just incredible. Even Noah Lassalle, like, jeez, like, yeah, it's incredible. Only Carter Gordon there at the number 10, but he does deserve it. So pretty happy for him actually, because he had a great Super Rugby season and carried it on to the international stage. And then in terms of the centers, they go on the likes of Lakakai Foketi, Sabu Karevi. They got Israel Parisi as well as Jordan Bataya. So, yeah, great centers overall, I'd say, from a Wallaby standpoint. And a lot of cover there, obviously, with Lennon Cattell still out. We'll see if he's available or not. I don't know. But, that's still pretty good cover, I'd say, overall in that position. And then, yeah, in terms of the outside backs, they call the likes of Max Jorgensen, which is a big call up as well. But probably one I'm actually more positive about, because I've seen what he can do within Super Rugby. And I think Eddie Jones understands that, yeah, this is definitely a tournament for him to kind of just gain a bit of experience, really, and obviously kind of help him later down the line, obviously going into the 2027. But then, yeah, of course, you have like Andrew Kellaway, Rick Corbetti, Mark Narkwatawasi, as well as Savisi Binivalu. So interesting to see he's been called up still, but because he didn't really make a good impression against the Boks in that opening round. But again, they need someone like him, which is understandable. He's kind of like their, in a weird way, I know this is kind of a weird way to say this, but he reminds me of, he's like their Israel Folau replacement in that sense, because he has kind of like the same skill set, you could say, of Israel Folau. So it's understandable why they've gone with someone like him in this squad. And then, yeah, in terms of the utility actually players, they've gone with Ben Donaldson here, which is a big, not really a big shock, because again, they only have one fly off there, and Ben Donaldson can obviously cover that position as well as 15 if needed, or even 12. So yeah, I can see why he's definitely seen as a utility player, because he can cover a lot of positions. Shame with Josh McKinney actually, because he can be used in terms of the back row, of course, but he can also be used actually as a winger. Like, he's actually a pretty quick player for what they're saying. So it's interesting that they have a player like him. But yeah, overall, that's really the squad, guys. I'm pretty surprised to see there's been a lot of omissions, to be perfectly honest, guys. And this is probably the most amount that I can think of out of all the squads so far that I've seen. Has surprised me the most, because no Michael Hooper. It's unbelievable. And Will Skelton getting the captaincy like for the first time. Like, it's crazy. But hey, it's Eddie Jones. So what more can I really expect from him? But anyway, guys, that's it really with this reaction towards the Wallabies squad. Let me know obviously in the comments what you guys think. Like the video, guys. Subscribe to our channel. And yeah, I'll see you guys next time.
Hey, Bill, I'm in the mood for a switch up. I hit the function, hit the rose till I hiccup. I hit the stage and leave with money that's a stick up. She picture perfect, so I told him I'm a flick up. Bill, I'm in the mood for a